On the fifth day of Southwest airline cancellations, they are still trying to maintain the lie that flights are being canceled due to weather. Only affecting them, though. Perhaps it's because Southwest Airlines employs aircraft that can't handle the rain, and they're the only ones. They are a budget airline, after all, or perhaps something else is happening. Now, they're adamant. There is no sick out. There is no strike. But my understanding, having talked to an actual pilot with Southwest, is that people have reached their limit. That's it. I mean, it's not so much Biden's vaccine mandate, but Southwest is trying to implement a vaccine mandate. And you have people just saying, enough. It has been nearly 2 years of being beaten down over and over and over again. 15 days to slow the spread, they say. It's almost like they are testing the stress that the public can handle. Eventually, people just snap and say, I can't do it. It's not about a strike. It's not about a sick out. It's something worse. It's just people saying, I'm done. And this leads us to something particularly worse, in my opinion, because I'll show you what's going on when they announce these vaccine mandates. Well, wait until we get to the later segments. But we got to talk about the specifics here because I think we are facing, it's a collapse. I don't want to get into too much of that because I'm still working on that one for later, but check this out. It's not just this one story. We got a big story. We got a story, two big stories. The first one is all of these people potentially reaching their limit and saying, I'm done. And that means this airline is falling apart. And it's probably due to the vaccine mandate. Doesn't mean there's a strike. But we have this story from the New York Post. Kyrie Irving has been suspended from the Nets. He will not be allowed to play, period, because he says he will not be vaccinated. Now, of course, the media has tried smearing him as a crackpot conspiracy theorist. Don't know, don't care. Kyrie is allowed to believe whatever he wants. He's an MVP, man. He's a 7-time All-Star NBA player. This guy is no shrinking violet, as it were. If he wants to believe whatever he wants to believe, it's none of my business. I think people believe a lot of crazy things. I think the establishment Democrats lead the charge on a cult, and I believe a lot of people have kooky religious views. And guess what? They're allowed to. Just don't infringe on my rights, then we've got a problem. So long as you've got Christian conservatives saying, I'm going to leave you alone, I'm like, okay, deal. You go do what you want. You worship whatever you want. I respect that. Leave me alone, and I'll go tend to the chickens and grow some tomatoes. But when the left comes out and says, we believe crackpot BS, and you better as well otherwise, I say, nah, I ain't playing none of that. Nope, sorry. Kyrie is standing up for what he believes in, and that's courage. And a lot of people have been saying, yeah, well, he's so rich, he can do whatever he wants. Yo, this is not a guy who got rich by taking the easy route. Y'all need to watch some Star Trek: The Next Generation. There's a really great episode. And just, don't roll your eyes. All the Trekkies are excited, but everyone else rolling your eyes. No, there's an episode. Captain Picard, right? He's the captain. And he gets a chance because of this omnipotent being to change some things in his past. And he regrets being so brash. He lost his heart. He got stabbed in a bar fight and had to get a prosthetic. And so he's like, if only I didn't act that way, perhaps I wouldn't have died later on in life, due to a heart injury, heart failure. He got shot, I think. So he goes back in time, and just bear with me. This is a good story. And he changes the past. He stops the bar fight. And when he comes back to the present, he's no longer the captain. He's a lowly science officer, lieutenant. And he's treated with disdain by the people he used to command. They're just like, quite honestly, Riker says to him, you've never taken any risks. You've always played it safe, and you're not suited for command. That's the point, I think, is lost in our modern generation, or the current generation. And it's surprising me because The Next Generation was a show that came on when I was a little kid. But I still get that message. It is not about playing it safe, making money, and then being able to take risks. It's about those who are willing to do what is necessary to succeed, having the ability to better protect themselves later on. And if you keep complying with everything, you are making everything worse for yourself. To the people who say, I need to be able to feed my children, the only reason right now there is a food shortage, and it's not like you're starving, there are just shortages of some foods. And the only reason it's likely to get worse, and it is because y'all comply. I don't mean you specifically. I think there's a whole bunch of people who are sitting there like, don't look at me. I said, hell no. But there are a lot of people maybe listening who are contemplating the decisions they made, and they say, Tim, it's not so easy. I have a family. Okay, look, there will come a time when there's no food because these Democrat politicians and their establishment Republican cohorts who are effectively, I love this analogy, the Washington Generals to the Democrats' Harlem Globetrotters, they allowed the shutdowns. They are exacerbating the problems. Biden is burning it to the ground, and your compliance guarantees their ability to do it. That's why this story of Southwest is hitting so hard. Now, a lot of people want to believe that everyone privately messaged each other and said, yo, we're doing this. Hoorah. And they all marched in the street saying no mandate. It's worse than that. We have seen the limit. They have bent and they were bending. And then finally the stress fracture snap. You ever see those videos where they bend wood? It's really cool. They take a big 2x4, they steam it, and then they have this big machine that actually just bends it around a curve. Because when you heat it up and get it a little wet, it can bend without breaking. But if it's not, wet, it just snaps, it splinters. They're trying to get humans to the point of being pliable, but they pushed too hard and the system has snapped. And there's no organized effort, just a bunch of people finally breaking down and saying, I can't live this way. Fox Business reports, Southwest continued to cancel and delay a handful of flights Tuesday, although it expects exponential improvement by the hour. The Texas-based carrier said in a statement to Fox Business that it projects to have approximately 90 system-wide cancellations out of the airline's almost 3,300 flights scheduled on Tuesday, making the fifth day of operation woes for the carrier. According to flight tracker FlightAware, Southwest already canceled 87 flights as of 11 a.m. Meanwhile, approximately 370 flights have already been delayed, according to the data. It's a far cry from over the weekend when the carrier canceled more than 1,000 flights, or 29% of its schedule, on Sunday alone. On Saturday, they canceled 808 flights and had 1,187 flights delayed. Disruptions began to ease Monday with cancellations amounting to 10% of their schedule. At least 1,400 other flights, or roughly 40%, were delayed. Whoa! Oh, man, this is bad. The delays are getting worse. At least they're moving. Southwest said it experienced weather challenges at its Florida airports in the beginning of the weekend, but only Southwest. Do you think we're stupid? They want you to believe insane nonsense. Weather that only affects, okay, fine. Okay, I can make assumptions. I can try and figure this one out. Like I said, Southwest uses paper airplanes. And when it rains, they disintegrate. So, sorry. Maybe their planes can't handle weather? Okay, then don't fly Southwest. Quote, to recap this weekend cancellations, the bad weather and ATC issues in Florida, a large operation for us on Friday night, created significant flight disruptions throughout our network, and we spent the weekend working to recover from the high number of displaced crews and aircraft. The issues were not a result of employee demonstrations, as some have reported, but that's the dirty trick they do. No one said, okay, some people did. I'm not saying demonstrations, nor did I find evidence of demonstrations, nor has there been any direct statement from anybody. It is people just saying they cannot work under these conditions. It's the same thing we're seeing at fast food restaurants, at factories, and I warned you about this. When you see KFC and they're like, everybody quit, we can't serve chicken. Do you think it is only KFC? And all these leftists are like, yeah, you go, yeah, you quit. Now it's the airlines. Now it's every other industry. Slowly but surely, they are going to be shutting down. They're ceasing production, and there will be less stuff for you. That's why I say, hey, man, if you haven't been getting ready, getting prepared, yep, they want to make you seem like being a prepper is crazy. Facebook apparently is flagging people saying like, it's funny. They're saying things like, do you know someone who's too prepared? And so there's a viral image where they're like, is anyone else getting this? Because I'm in a canning group. Like canning. It's where people make like strawberry jam and they put it in a can and they seal it for to preserve it. It's not even prepping. It's just like a hobby. Yet they're now claiming like prepping is bad. I wonder why. Maybe it's because they want everyone strained, starving, hungry and scared, and then they will come in as the savior. But hey, you can move out to the middle of nowhere, grow your own food, get a big property, learn to hunt, and raise some of your own chickens. Chickens are easy. That's why I say that. Like, you can get goats and stuff, but I think chickens are a lot easier. Although we'll probably end up getting goats because goats are awesome. They stink, though. Yeah, so you can take care of yourself. And then when the time comes, you'll be like, I got eggs for days. Got all these chickens running around. You got to feed them. This is the craziest thing that people don't understand about dependency and independence. There's an old bit. I can't remember who it's by. I don't know if it's Hamish and Andy. But he's like, it's this guy trying to convince you of a get-rich-quick scheme. And he's like, check this out. You take these seeds, put them in dirt, and then food just grows out of the ground. You then take it, you sell it, free money. As if, like, people don't realize food literally grows out of the ground. You know, it's funny. They say money doesn't grow on trees. Yeah, but fruit does, and you can sell it. So technically it does grow on trees. But I got the point. It doesn't grow on trees, meaning you've got to work for it. But that's not even necessarily the case, right? If money grew on trees, you'd still have to pick the money to go use it, right? Well, buy an apple tree. We got 3 apple trees right to my right here. And they come in, we collect the apples, and we don't really do anything with them. The deers like to eat them. But you set up an apple orchard. Trees take a long time to grow, but when you have it, there's that work. Then you just walk out, you take the apples, you sell them. Money literally growing on trees. People don't get that. We had a garden out in front, and we just planted stuff, and then that's it. And then one day, there's fruits and vegetables. Wow, when we eat them. And then we eat them. There you go. Mostly we gave them to the chickens, though, because it was too much. You know, we had way too much food at one time because we don't have the expert skills of farming properly, meaning like don't plant all your tomatoes at the same time. You plant them like one week, the next week, and then they come in and you get the point. Anyway, they go on to say that the CEO has issued an apology to the impacted customers during an interview on Good Morning America, saying this is not what we want, but unfortunately, it just takes a couple of days to get things back on track. They say the widespread disruptions began shortly after the Southwest Airlines Pilot Association, representing 9,000 pilots, asked a federal court on Friday to block the airline's order that all employees get vaccinated. The union argued that Southwest must negotiate over the issue because it could involve sick leave or disability if pilots have a reaction to the vaccine. However, the association denied claims that it had any connection to the cancellations and delays. But like I said, a lot of pilots are probably just at their wits' end. Now, interestingly, the pilot I talked to, and this was reiterated by our guests last night on IRL, Tom Sauer and Colin Myers, if a pilot has any adverse reaction, their career is over. Blood clot, over. And so they're like, you better give me a good reason for doing this. Flying a plane, you got to be the best of the best. You got to be in perfect shape. And if you have any medical issues, they're not going to let you fly a plane because you've got so many lives in your hands. So these pilots are primed to be like, I can't do this. Now, you may be asking, but Tim, what about Kyrie Irving? Here's a good example of someone with a lot to lose. Someone who worked their whole life to make it to this point. Remember that debate I had with Jack Murphy on Timcast IRL? Maybe you didn't see it. He was talking about how he will not take baseball away from his child over the vaccine mandate. And I said, well, at least when, we're all in gulags, you'll know that your kid got to play baseball. It was a very heated debate. And the point was, Jack was saying the vaccine mandate isn't that big of a deal. The mandate is bad, but the vaccine is not going to cause his kid problems. He's not worried about that. He's just angry that they're trying to force him to, force his son to do this in order to play sports. Well, a lot of people took Jack's side and said, you don't understand what it means to have kids and what you got to do for them. Now think about what that means for Kyrie Irving, who made it. He was that kid who had a dad who said, I will sacrifice everything for my kid to have this sport. And he is the rarity, the exception, the cream of the crop, who fought so hard. He finally got to that point. He made it to the top of the mountain. Imagine dedicating everything you have to climb to Everest. And then right at the top, they say, in order to pass this point, you need to be vaccinated. And Kyrie said, I won't do it. I'm going to climb back down. But you've been working for this moment for your whole life, for decades. Doesn't matter. Principles first. That's Kyrie Irving. The sacrifices he must have made. They say in the wake of Nets star Kyrie Irving's apparent refusal to get vaccinated, the 29-year-old will not play until he does, the team announced in a surprise statement this morning. Exactly 1 week before the Nets kick off their regular season against the Bucks, the team announced Irving will not practice or play, even during away games, where he is allowed to participate. Given the evolving nature of the situation and after thorough deliberation, we've decided Kyrie Irving will not play or practice with the team until he is eligible to be a full participant. Kyrie has made a personal choice and we respect his individual right to choose. Currently, the choice restricts his ability to be a full-time member of the team, and we will not permit any member of our team to participate with part-time availability. It is imperative that we continue to build chemistry as a team and remain true to our long-established values of togetherness and sacrifice. Our championship goals for this season have not changed, and to achieve these goals, each member of our organization must pull in the same direction. We are excited for the start of the season and look forward to a successful campaign that will make the borough of Brooklyn proud. Due to local restrictions in New York, every Nets and Knicks player must be vaccinated to practice or play home games. Irving is the only member of the Nets who is not vaccinated. Interestingly, performers don't need to be. Now, look, I'm not a sports guy. I don't know a whole lot about Kyrie Irving and his stats or anything like that. I do know that you can jump over to his career and see he was a champion in 2016, 7-time NBA All-Star, All-Star Game MVP in 2014, All-NBA Second Team 2019, Third Team 2015, NBA Rookie of the Year, 3-point contest champion, Best Team ESPY Award. I don't know if this means he's the best of the best, but I think it means he's pretty good. Now take a look at what happens when you pop over to his personal life Wikipedia. Conspiracy theories. He's being dragged for claiming the earth is flat. Okay, the earth's not flat. Don't get wrapped up in internet garbage, bro. He apparently apologized for it. He also states that he believes other conspiracy theories, such as the idea that JFK was killed because he wanted to end the banking cartel. I don't know exactly why John F. Kennedy was killed, but he was, either because a crackpot in the book depository or whatever wanted to do it, or otherwise. A lot of people believe it was the CIA. Man, I don't know about any of that stuff. I tend not to believe in conspiracy theories, but I will tell you this. If you don't believe any conspiracy theory is possible, you're wrong. Rich, powerful people and politicians get together all the time, literally all the time, for some goal. And sometimes it's good and they brag about it. And sometimes it's bad and they deny it. But when bad things happen, the media will call you a conspiracy theorist for being like, a group of rich people got together to do something bad. That's a conspiracy theory. A group of rich people got together to do something good. Well, that's totally normal and acceptable. I don't know or care. If they're doing things to empower themselves and they're getting together, these things happen. But conspiracy implies some kind of nefarious action or criminal activity. This is what they'll say about you if you come out and you challenge them. But let me tell you my favorite thing in all of this. First, let me just say to all the pilots who are refusing the vaccine mandate, whether organized or otherwise, I respect that 100%. Let me say to Kyrie Irving, mad respect for standing up for your principles and what you believe in, even if it means sacrificing everything you've worked for. And I want to point something out now. I actually saw this tweet here because of Oliver Darcy of CNN. And he made a good point. This is Mark Walters. He says, pilots taking a stand. Great to see. And he shows this video from a pilot saying, we're not going to do this. We fight for freedom. We won't stand for this. And everyone's sharing this video. It's got 2.2 million views. Well, let me show you exactly who Mark Walters is. He's the CRO at Media DC, Media and Politics. They're the publisher of the Washington Examiner. And as you can see here, he has, this tweet, pilots taking a stand. Great to see. Washington Examiner up in his, his banner on Twitter. And it says here, the link on his profile is the Washington Examiner. Not that he's followed by too many people. Here's the funny thing. Washington Examiner to require vaccination for employees. The Hill reports, the Examiner is requiring employees to be vaccinated against COVID. Employees of Media DC, the outlet's parent company, were sent guidance announcing mandatory COVID-19 vaccination policy that went into effect on Monday, according to a memo reviewed by The Hill. All employees must provide proof of vaccination to the outlet's human resource department by August 9th as part of the new policy. For employees who have received the two-shot regimen for Pfizer and Moderna, those employees must prove their second dose has been administered within 35 days of the first. So you mean to tell me this dude who's cheering on pilots saying no to a vaccine mandate actually works for a company at high level who has a This is why I have told you, and I said, people who claim to oppose the vaccine mandate but then go out and do it anyway don't really oppose it. And people are like, this doesn't even make sense, Tim. There's tons of people who oppose it. I'm not playing this anymore. Fox News. Now, I'm willing to bet Tucker Carlson's not vaccinated, but Fox News reportedly also has a vaccine mandate. How are you going to come out and act like you oppose this when you participate in it? To all these people who are like, vaccine mandates are wrong. But I'm not going to resist it. I'm going to actually, be a participant in that system. Nah, sorry, I don't play that game. If tyranny is in front of your face and you say the tyranny is worth the reward, then you deserve the tyranny. Because I tell you, the tyranny is never worth it. You will never comply your way out of tyranny. And those that would give up their freedom in exchange for security deserve neither and will lose both. So to the hypocrites, nice try. If Google came to me today and said, email us proof of vaccination or we ban your channel, I would say, do it. Now I'm willing to bet, as I stated, Tucker Carlson ain't vaccinated. He's too powerful. I don't think they can force him to do anything. And perhaps he might not even be a direct employee. He might be like a contracted. I wouldn't be surprised, considering how wealthy he is, if he was just contracted with Fox News, meaning he's not under their payroll. They pay him a cash contract and then he deals with everything on his end, perhaps even employing his company to do a lot of the work. That would technically get you around a lot of these mandates. Suffice it to say, hypocrites. Kyrie Irving ain't no hypocrite. He could lose everything for standing up for what he believes in. I respect it. Maybe he'll cave. We'll see. The pilots, they're saying enough. Not hypocrites. The Examiner, Fox News, spare me. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.